Hi, this is IK Tutors, and we're going to go over another HESI question for one of our clients. Okay, here we have a word problem, and we're going to go ahead and solve it. So let's begin. Okay, initially, when we have any word problem in HESI, we have to remember we're going to do just two things. First, we're going to uh, translate the word problem into an equation, and then we're going to solve the equation. Now, in the translation part, we have to know what type of equation we need, which we can find out based on what type of word problem it is. So how do we know what type of word problem it is? We look at the numbers, right? If we look at the numbers and we see pairs of units, we know that it is a conversion problem. So if we look at the numbers here, we see 1.5 liters. That's one unit here. And then we're looking for another unit here. We see this is how many milliliters, right? So we have liters and milliliters. So that's pairs of units. So we know it's a conversion problem. All right, so now we know that we have to use a conversion technique, which is a three-step technique. We have written it over here on the right side. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. Step one of the technique is we're going to write out the conversion factor. Now, there's on the St. Paul School of Nursing HESI support website, we have a PDF that you can download and you can get a listing of conversion factors. All right, for the conversion factor for this one, we're going to have it's an equivalence between the two units. So we have liters and milliliters. So it turns out in one liter, there are 1,000 milliliters. Okay, so we did step one. That's done. Now we're going to do step two. We need to solve, right? And in order to do that, we have to do some arithmetic, and we cannot do arithmetic in equivalence form. We have one thing equals another. We have to put this in fractional form, and that's step two. So let's go ahead and do this. Right. And this is great because we have two numbers in the conversion factor, two numbers in the fractions. The only thing we really need to know is which one of these numbers goes on top. How do we figure that out? We don't have to figure it out. Right. The problem tells us in the word problem, whatever units they want to end up with, that has to go on the top of the fraction. I'll say it again. In the word problem for conversion problems, whatever units they want to end up with has to be on the top of the fraction. Here it says how many milliliters. So they want to end up with milliliters. So milliliters goes on top. So our conversion factor is going to be 1,000 milliliters over 1 liter. Okay, so that's step two. Done. Last step. Okay, now once we have that, the last step is simple. We're going to multiply by what's given. So let's go ahead and do that. Step three. So what's given? We read the problem. We say a nurse is instructed to give a patient 1.5 liters. So 1.5 liters is given. We have that here. We're going to multiply that by what we got in step two. And now we have our equation all set up. So once we have our equation, we're going to solve the equation, and all it takes to do that is to follow rules. We see we have a fraction here, so we're going to follow rules of fractions. When multiplying or dividing or addition or adding, subtracting fractions, we always have to make sure all the numbers are in fractional form. So we're going to put a 1 under this. That takes care of that. And the only other rule we have to worry about when multiplying fractions is the procedure, which is we multiply across the top, we multiply across the bottom. And this is important. Anything that matches in the top and the bottom, units or factors of numbers, they will cancel out because they match. So let's go ahead and do this. We see a unit of L on the top that matches with a unit of L in the bottom, so they cancel out. The only thing we're left with is, in terms of units, is the milliliters on top. Now we can go ahead and take care of the numbers. We always do the numbers last, okay? So 1 times 1 on the bottom is 1, and 1.5 times 1,000 on the top is 1,500. Now, the last step is we know that anything divided by 1 is itself. So our answer is 1,500 milliliters. Right, and this is what we look for in the answer in the multiple choice selection for this question. So I hope this helped, guys. If it did, please remember to like and subscribe, and let's go on to the next question.